and welcome back. My name is Rebecca with Chakra Yoga and Wellness, and today we are going to do a quick 20-minute session on our Sacral Chakra, Svadhisthana. So I'm going to get right into it and I'll educate a little bit throughout. Our yoga practice, our asanas are going to focus on our hip area. That is where our sacral chakra lies. Which is right at our navel here. So let's find that comfortable seat, and we will be starting in that seated position. If you do need to lay down, that's perfectly fine as well. You can just meet us in that seated position when it is time. So finding that comfortable position and closing down your eyes and coming into this moment. Noticing the sounds, the breeze, or anything you feel on your skin, the temperature. Noticing if there's any areas of tension and maybe just bringing your awareness there and relaxing a little bit more. And then we're going to take a few deep breaths together to help calm that nervous system. So let's inhale all the way up through our nose. And then exhale out. Maybe releasing with sound through your mouth. Inhale through the nose. And then exhale. One more time. And then taking a moment here just to feel again the difference in your body. Whether you feel more relaxed, whether you have tingling or sensations coming up. Just noticing, leaving that judgment, letting go of that judgment and just noticing. And then we're going to bring our attention to our navel. You can even bring your hands here if you'd like. Right hand over left, just below your belly button. Our hands are like magnets, hundreds of little energy centers, chakras in our hands. So helping this energy to balance, helping this chakra to activate. And then envisioning an orange light here at your navel. This is our center for emotional regulation, for finding that pleasure in life, that joy. And knowing that some parts of life will be painful and that we will have to deal with some difficult emotions, some uncomfortable feelings, but knowing that when we sit in that discomfort, that energy will pass, and then we will be able to feel that joy and those high frequency emotions more regularly. It's our center for creativity. And once we find those joys, that passion in life, then we can use this creativity to find success, joy, peace, whatever that is. So let's take a couple more deep breaths, breathing into this energy center, this orange light, at your own pace all the way in. And exhaling. Imagining this breath coming in to this energy center, Svadhisthana, this breath helping to activate this energy center, helping to remove any traumas or memories that we may have stored here. Making room for new, fresh energy. One more breath. I am creative. It is safe to feel all of my emotions. I am finding all of the joys in my daily life. And then coming back and maybe just wiggling your fingers and toes or bringing some movement back to your neck. Maybe softly opening your eyes. Maybe some neck rolls, bringing your chin down to your chest. Just giving your body any movement to wake yourself back up. And then we're going to do some torso rolls here. So again, we're working with our hips today. So just circling forward and back, really rounding that back. Moving, maybe rocking a little bit, really finding your own variation here, making this movement your own, as always. And if there's anything I'm doing today that doesn't resonate with you, maybe there's a different variation or just coming out of it all together. And then going the opposite direction with those torso circles. And then coming back to center. We're going to bring our feet together in our butterfly. Soles are together. Maybe we can grab our feet or our ankles. Wherever we are, we want that straight back. So if we're just grabbing our legs or our ankles, maybe our feet, maybe with that flat back, we can begin to come forward a little bit. Taking a couple breaths here. And then releasing that, bringing these heels out a little bit. And then from here, we're going to actually round our spine and just come right over. Maybe we can bring our forehead down to the soles of our feet. Maybe we're up here, and that's okay. We're going to feel that stretch in the outer part of our hips, taking 2 breaths here. And then coming back up. From here, we're going to come into our tabletop. Hands are under our shoulders, knees are under our hips, and we're going to do some cat-cow here. Again, rotating those hips. Inhale, belly down, crown, tailbone up. Exhale, cat, rounding that spine up like a rainbow. Inhale, cow, belly down. Exhale, cat, rounding that spine up. Doing a few more of these at your own pace. And then coming back to that neutral spine. We're going to sit back on our heels in child's pose. We're compressing those hips here. Knees can be together or they can be separated on the mat. Reaching those hands up, bringing that forehead down to the mat. We can use a block here as well. Or we can just be up here, and that's okay, whatever feels right today. Taking a couple breaths into that back side of our body. And then coming back up to that tabletop. We're going to do some more hip circles here. We're going to come down onto our heels and then come back around. So we're doing that similar motion, those circles with our hips. So our sacral chakra Svadhisthana is fluid. So it's our water element. So I like to get a lot of motion in when we're working on our sacral chakra. Maybe going in the opposite direction if you haven't already. And then coming back up to that tabletop. We're going to bring this left knee out to the side. Now we're going to do some hip circles here. So the left knee comes out to the side, and we're just going to draw circles with this left knee forward. So again, that motion, bringing that motion, that mobility into our hips. And then stopping and going in the opposite direction. Waking up our creativity, our joy, our center for pleasure. And then bringing that knee down, we're going to do the other side. So this right knee comes over to the right, and then we're doing those circles, drawing those circles in one way with our knee. You can do bigger, small circles. You can always bring your awareness back to that navel, that sacral chakra, and going in the opposite direction. I am creative. I find the joy and pleasure in life. It is safe to feel my emotions. And then coming back to that tabletop. And let's sit back in our child's pose again, bringing those hands alongside our ear and just taking a breath here. Coming back up to that tabletop. We're going to, from our tabletop, you could do this from downward dog as well if you wanted to come into downward dog. We're going to come into our pigeon here. So we're going to take this right knee. We're going to place it by that right wrist. This right foot comes over to the left side of our mat, and we can scooch this left foot back. Now here we're in our pigeon. So this can be a very intense posture. We're really going to feel it in that right hip. Especially if you have tight hips and you haven't done much work with your hips. So really be patient with yourself. If you have a block, you could place a block or a pillow or something under that right hip to help. You can stay right here on your hands. You can come down to your elbows if you'd like. Maybe you can come right down to the mat. Just trying to keep that back flat. So if it starts to round in order to come down, just staying up on your elbows or your hands. Taking a couple breaths here into that right hip. One more breath. You could always do reclined pigeon here as well on your back. That's another option for this similar hip stretch. And then we're going to come up to our hands if we're not there already. Tuck those left toes. We're just going to bring that right knee back, and let's sit back in that child's pose for a moment. You can always come into downward dog here as well. That's an option. Coming back up into our tabletop, we're still going to work with this right hip. We're going to bring this right foot can come back, and then it's going to come to the outside of our right hand. So we're coming into lizard here. This left knee can scooch back a little bit. We're up on our hands. This right inside of our foot might start to open. It's okay. Our right knee might start to go out to the right, might fall out a little bit. Might hear some popping. That's okay. Remembering if it's discomfort to take a couple breaths, maybe coming out of it after that. But if it's painful, always coming out of it right away. If you'd like to come down to your elbows, if you'd like to tuck those left toes and lift that left knee, finding your variation of lizard. If you'd like to reach this right arm back and grab those right toes, that's an option as well. Wherever you are, coming back up to those hands, and then again, bringing this right knee back. So now we're back into our tabletop. We're going to bring this left knee or leg back, straight back behind us, and we're going to come into pigeon on the other side. So we're going to bring this left knee to this left wrist. That left foot comes over to the right of our mat. We can scooch this right knee back, and then we're in our pigeon on the other side. We can stay on our hands. We can come down to our elbows. Maybe even come right down flat on our mat. Wherever you are, breathing. This is our center for emotional regulation. So we do hold a lot of emotions in our hips. Sometimes we can get very emotional when we're doing a yoga practice that has a lot of hip work in it. So if emotions come up, if any tears come up, if any joy comes up, whatever that is, just acknowledge it and just let it pass through you, whatever it is. And one more breath. Not already, coming up to your hands, tucking those right toes, and then we're going to come back into that table. We can sit back in our child's, or again, maybe you're coming into that downward dog. Taking a breath here. Noticing the sensation in your hips if anything is coming up. Anything coming up in your body, always notice that. Bring your awareness to that. Coming back to that tabletop, and we're going to come into that lizard. So we're going to lift this left leg up and back, and then we're going to bring this left foot to the outside of our left hand. Our left foot can be on a 45-degree angle, toes pointed out. Bring that right knee back a little bit. This left knee is going to start to open. The inside of that left foot will come up a little bit. That's great. We might stay right here on our hands. We might come down to our elbows. Wherever you are, taking a couple breaths. And this is another one you can always twist a little bit. You could lift these right toes. You could bring this left arm back and grab that right foot there. But if that's not in your practice, you're just in lizard, taking a couple breaths. And then releasing that right foot if you have a hold of it, coming back up to your hands, walking that left foot back into center, and then bringing it back into that table. Let's sit back in our child's for just a moment here. Coming up into that table. From here, we're going to come into a downward dog. If that's in your practice, we're going to tuck those toes. We're going to push those hips up and back, bending those knees as much as we need to. Heels can be lifted off the floor. They're striving for the mat. Pushing that heart back towards our thighs. Shoulder blades are down our back. Head is hanging. So everything, our neck, shoulders are relaxed here. This is another great one for our hips, for our whole body, really. Stretch, strength. One more breath. Now, next we're going to bring our feet in between our hands. So however you're going to get there, you might bend those knees. You might take a bunch of little steps. You might take just one, bringing your feet up between your hands, and then coming into that forward fold, head is hanging. We're going to inhale, reach up, look up, coming all the way up to the top, hands together at the top. Exhale, hands to heart. Taking a moment here with our hands at our heart center. Feeling anything coming up in your body, any sensations. We're going to do a fluid motion with chair pose here. So we're going to bring our hands, as we bring our hands up alongside our ears, we're going to bend those hips and we're going to sit back into our chair pose. Holding here for a moment. We're going to come into balance chair. So we're going to sweep those arms back. We're going to come up onto those toes, lifting those heels. Inhale, chair, arms up alongside ear. Back into balance chair, lifting those heels up. We're going to inhale as we come up and exhale as we go back. Now another option here, inhale forward, come right up, arms up. Exhale, sit back into chair, arms back. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, sit back. One more time. Now the next time we're up, we're going to dive down, hinging at those hips, coming all the way down to our forward fold. Hanging here. Inhale, flat back, so hands comes to our shins or to a block. And then exhale, forward fold. From here, we're going to roll one vertebrae by vertebrae, just all the way up to the top. And then taking a moment here when we're back up. Let's bring our hands to our heart center. From here, we're just going to come up onto our toes. So we're balancing here. Bring that core in. And from here, we're just going to sit down, slowly bending those knees, coming all the way down to our heels. And then once we're on our heels, you might hear some knee cracks. We're just going to come down, back down to that seated position. Now we're going to come into our final resting posture, so Shavasana. So if you'd like to get comfy on your back, palms facing up, maybe your feet are just relaxed out to the side. Or maybe you're staying in that seated posture with your legs crossed. Just finding what feels right in this moment. Maybe noticing any areas that you need to bring your awareness to relax a little bit deeper. Noticing how your body feels. And bringing your attention back to Svadhisthana chakra at your navel, below your belly button. Maybe placing your hands there once again. Noticing if any emotions or energy came up. Knowing that it is safe to feel all of your emotions. It is necessary to feel all of our emotions in order to keep this energy flowing so we don't get those blockages. So envisioning that orange light here one last time. Feeling that energy of joy, that creative energy flow through your entire body. And if you would like to take some more time here, please do that. Feeling this energy. I am creative. I feel joy. I deserve pleasure. I am worthy of pleasure. And wherever you are, if you would like to end and come up to that seated posture, let's bring our hands to our heart center, prayer position, feeling some gratitude for our practice, for releasing emotions, emotional energy. And let's take a final deep inhale together, all the way up through the nose. And let it go. One more time, all the way in. And out. Thank you so much for joining me today. You can always stay longer in Shavasana. I will have meditations up as well if you wanted to move into the sacral meditation, if you needed a little bit more of that relaxing time. Thank you so much.